Welcome back to Should We Even? This week we'll be discussing should we even have a garden. My name is Mike.
This is Jennifer.
Welcome back.
So this week we're asking the question, should we even garden? And in a minute you're fixing to see our answer. But before this video is over, you're going to know how to garden, how to harvest, when to plant, when to sow. You're going to know that you don't have to be perfect because you're going to see it in our garden for sure. You're going to learn that even in the winter, extreme conditions and extreme droughts, you can also garden. And you can be free. Gardening can set you free. Stay tuned. Come on, let's go.
So don't be scared to garden. All you got to do is just dig up the ground, plant your seeds, make sure they got water, and harvest when the harvest time comes. So everybody can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So back to you, Jen.
So speaking of the good, the bad, and the ugly, that's what gardening's about. The good part is you don't have to have a big space. If Michael will kind of pan around while I'm talking, we literally have a pie-shaped area of about 4 by maybe 13 at its biggest. This is just where we grow our vegetables, our herbs, more goodness. Now the bad. The bad is, well listen, you should be careful when you're gardening. You're going to encounter insects that you don't normally encounter because they're going to love what you're growing too. And the ugly. Let's show you some of our ugly. We're going to let you in. Check this out. Zoom in, baby, at our ugly. We do not do well at maintaining weeds, but that doesn't bother us any because amongst that, we have baby cucumbers coming up. And this is something I want to talk to you about gardening. Another good thing is that you can garden all the time. We've had a first harvest of cucumber. This is our second harvest. When that cucumbers are, well, let me explain it in the tomatoes. Babe, you want to show them your cages? How you grow them?
Fencing for my tomatoes and my cucumbers. What I took was 3 fence posts, pounded them in the ground. Then I took some wire fencing that I had that was cut down to size. And then I use zip tie. This is one of my hacks for zip ties. And you'll see I use zip ties a lot. And then once I got my fence panel up, I moved to the next section and I took some wood that came from our crepe myrtle, cut pieces off on it and zip tied them to this section of the panel. As you see, we weaved our tomato bush in and out of the wooden structure here. And our tomato plant over here, even though we got a short support system over here, when you do yours, make sure you do yours a lot taller because later on I'm going to have to add to this fence paneling later on. And as you see, I got cucumbers growing up over here. And once these grow, they'll start getting a hold of the cage and growing. So let's move on to Jennifer.
Another amazing thing about gardening is that it happens whether you want it to or not. You don't have to lay a finger and things will grow. You know it's true. This is a perfect example. We had a tomato here last year, so a little tomato fell, landed on the ground. It had seeds inside it. It came back all on its own, and look, it's got blooms. It's ready to make new fruit. Guys, gardening equals freedom. Let's go on and see if we've got any harvest ready anywhere. Ooh-wee, guys, talking about a harvest. Look at them all here. Now this is summer squash, and this is a good time to start talking about succession planting. These will push out their fruit, and then their plants will go, and we'll put in something else like lettuce because of a cold harvest when lettuce is ready. We got here. Now listen, you guys need to tune in to our next video because we're going to ask the question, should we even get small fruit? Also, we're going to ask the question, does size matter? But listen, don't go anywhere because I got to show you this crazy one that we're fixing to harvest.
So we've seen the squash. Now we're going to move on to when to pull the onions out of the ground. So Jennifer's got her little shovel ready to go. So let's go over to Jennifer and see her take the onions out.
Guys, I don't mean to go over and over about the good, bad, and the ugly, but come check this harvest out. It actually has one of each in it. First of all, onion, good, we love it. bad, it wasn't supposed to bloom. I am not sure what happened. I did some looking up, and it says extreme weather changes back and forth can make it bloom. Because an onion is a biennial. You'll plant the little seedlet. It'll be about the finger size of a little beginning finger nugget. You plant that in the ground. As it grows, its first season, it'll send up the green shoots. In its second season, it will flower. Now, you don't have to let it flower. You can clip off the flower. You can just eat the green sections of the onions. But also, you can still eat the onion even if it flowers. But I think what happened for us this year, the bad was, we did have that really weird weather season. That's not going to stop us though. Come check us out for the harvest. This is when you know it's ready to go, not when it blooms. When the bulb has forced itself out of the ground like this, and when it begins to lean over, you know it's time to harvest. Now, I also read up on that when this happens and you harvest your onions this way, they may not last as long in storage, which is okay, because they still last a long time for any garden vegetables. So what we'll do is we'll lay these out and let them dry and cure for several weeks, and we'll store them nice and clean. I might make an onion necklace. Tune in. We'll see if I can do that. I've never done that before. All right, let's go talk about some other great things that are in the garden we can harvest.
So talking about the onion harvest, let me tell y'all, we got an onion harvest. I got about 30 onions here. So if you know any good onion recipes, please leave it below and let me know, because I don't know what I'm gonna do with all these onions.
Now, just how the onion was a biennial, so is the mullein plant. And the mullein is good to grow medicinally. Not only, babe, can you see that one? How big that one is? Not only is it beautiful in the landscape, not only do pollinators like it, which you need those because you want a bountiful harvest, but it's good for our insides. It's good for our lungs. There are so many things that it's good for that I'll miss it. So I don't want to tell you everything. Please look it up. Medicinal purposes for mullein. But here, this is a first-year plant. It'll grow this rosette, fuzzy, bluish gray green leaf. And you'll see this growing on the roadsides. It's a regular plant. We're going to harvest it. Now, this is not the ideal time, but I want to do this to show y'all that we can do this. You can do this. This is obviously the big boy back there. That is a second year plant. This is second year, obviously, because it's blooming. I'm going to get some of these leaves with some more that I already have, and we're going to make a tincture. Come on, come with me. Let's go make it. All right, guys. Now we have our mullein leaf. We have our 100 proof vodka, and we have our beautiful amber glass jar. Michael's going to leave a link below. You're going to want these. They're kind of rare, so if you see it, you need to get it right away. They sell out. What's cool besides their beauty is that they block 99% of the light. In this project, when we cut these leaves up, and I'm just lining them up, you don't have to do this. You can actually rip and tear the leaves apart if you want to. But I'm going to do this because I'm going to cut them and just make it easier. Watch that. Boop. Don't even care. So the amber blocks 99% of the light. And that's what you want, because when you store this, you want it to store in a no light room. You want it to be dark. It's also going to store for like 6 to 8 weeks. You're going to cover the jar up. You're going to cover the leaves up completely with vodka. And then every once in a while, maybe once a week, you go in there and shake it. Shake it up. Every once in a while, you make sure that the leaves are fully submerged. And if they're not, feel free to top them off. Ooh, babe, look, it went pretty far. I'm getting low on the mullein because we've already made several jars worth already this season. Now, typically, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't harvest your leaves while the plant is blooming. That's why they like first-year plants too, because they don't bloom. The leaf is more potent because it's not using its power to make flowers. So all of its potency goes into the leaves. But nonetheless, you can still make it while the leaf's on it. It just will not be as potent as it would be if you took a fresh first-year floret leaf. So
What are you putting in there now, Jen?
this is 100 proof vodka. I like that because you don't have to think. There's other recipes out there. And also, if you're not an alcohol person or you're worried about the alcohol, you don't have to use alcohol. There's plenty of tincture recipes out there to choose from, and not all of them call for alcohol. I like alcohol because it's a sterilizing. Also, when you make a tincture with alcohol, first of all, also too, I sterilized all this and got it really clean. But then again, it's not the scariest thing because when you use 100 proof alcohol, it sterilizes things itself. Also, it stores,
I already don't know if this is alcohol. Let me, oh
babe.
yeah, this is alcohol, right?
He's kidding you guys. He wouldn't be able to film the video after this. Anyways, the alcohol 100% proof makes you storing this indefinitely. So again, when this is through, we're going to strain the leaves out. I use an old t-shirt. I pour it in there, squeeze all the goodness out of it, and put all my new liquid into a brand new clean jar. And then I have tincture for the whole season. Some people take little drops on the tongue. Some people just take a swig. There's other things you can do with mullein too. You don't have to make a tincture. So let's do some other type of gardening in ways that we can use throughout the season. Hey guys, now we're in our hot oregano patch, and when I say hot, it is. So many of y'all aren't familiar with this herb. It's obviously an oregano. Can you zoom in, babe? It's actually going to flower right now. This one may even actually be going to seed. Here's a little bit of flower. This is a good time to collect your oregano. Here's ours. I would say I did this about 3 weeks ago. And now it's hot, guys. I'm going to show you how we can turn this into your new favorite seasoning. Okay, guys, we're going to take these little leaf nuggets off one by one. This is almost so easy that I feel kind of bad for showing it. Now, I'm not going to have you watch me do this whole thing. You can emulsify these. You can turn these into a powder, but these are actually so hot that they remind me of hot chili pepper flakes. So this is what I'll use instead because I don't grow hot chili pepper flakes. But this is a good alternative. And then when I say it's hot, it is hot. So I want these, I'm not going to make them be tiny. Like I said, you could also mix them in with some other herbs that you've dried and make a custom mix. But now that we have some, I'm going to show you a little extra. Now I recycled this. I wanted them to be big. I recycled this from another sauce we had. And it needs to not be too big that it just pours out of that hole. It just barely fits. So let's give it a little test and see what will happen. First off, that is hot. So that is going to be too much. Oh, it's breaking up. Okay. All right. Now this is our first time to do this with this hot oregano. We've had it 2 seasons now. I grew several oreganos, and the hot oregano is the only one that overwintered well. Now these are things that you will learn as you garden too. I may have planted 2 or 3 different kinds of oregano, but only one of them came back. So that's something to think about, and don't be upset with yourself about it, and don't be sad. Don't quit gardening because something didn't grow, because that's how it happens. For everything that doesn't grow, you have 100 things that come up that you didn't even know about. So let's see how we like this. I'm going to give it a test. Now I have a lot more, so off camera I will finish this job. But this is a little test to see if we like the size chunks it has. Ooh, baby, think you're going to like that?
I sure am.
All right, let's show them some wild harvest, other wild things that come up that we can collect.
So this is elderberry. I was mowing the grass over here one day and looked over here and I saw elderberry. A guy at work gave me a cutting of elderberry because my wife researched and said it was good for home remedies and stuff like that. So I brought it home, put it in a jar of water, and it started sprouting roots. So we're over here, and I got to keep an eye on them every day because once they turn black is when you actually start harvesting them, and you got to get them right before the birds get them. If you don't get them, the birds will eat them all up. And so this is our harvest, elderberry harvest.
Hey guys, yeah, we'll go show you how the roots simply grow out of it. Elderberry is one of the easiest plants to re-root. So when I talk about how easy gardening is and how it can happen, even whether you don't hardly try, let's go over to the table and I'm going to show you some other examples. So one of the many ways that gardening helps you be free is through propagation and seed keeping and many other root cuttings. Here's the elderberry that his friend at work brought him. Guys, look at this. We just stuck the stem in the water and we have roots growing. We'll plant that in the ground and many life-saving superfood elderberries will grow. Stay tuned and we'll talk about and maybe make some elderberry things. Here's another thing I wanted to show you. I've propagated this airplane plant. She barely had any roots on her. And now look at her. So this is what we do. We take this plant when we have a baby, like this one. It doesn't have roots on it, but it's jumped out of its mama. We'll snap this off. Normally I have some scissors, but we don't. I'm gonna show you one thing about that too real quick before we end the video. I will stick this in here. Now, I need a little more water. See how low I don't know if you can see how low the water's going, but I will fill the water up to where it can touch the plant. And she looks so cute with hair, Mrs. Buttersworth. Also, I'm very into amber glass right now. Now this right here, I want to show you this. So when I get a plant, like when it's ready to go and it's rooted, I find anything I can to stick it in. I'll have other house plants. I'll just stick this in with it. But this right here, I wanted to show you. I just took this tin metal thing and it wasn't waterproof, but I lined it with the shower curtain right here. This is an old recycled plastic clear shower curtain. This will keep the water and the soil in it. And I left it open right now because I just wanted to show y'all that that's what it was, but I'll come back and cut this off and clean it up later. You won't be able to see that. So guys, what else? One more thing. If you stay to the end, you get to see the coolest fruit. You know how we sort of peg this, the good, the bad, and the ugly of should we garden? Wait one second. I want to show you a garden harvest that was a really good one today. So we had many great harvests today, but I wanted to show you something and I wanted to pique your interest a little bit. Look at this funny thing. Now, leave in the comments below, would you call this good, bad, or ugly? And then do you see this little baby here? You need to tune in for our next video where we ask ourselves, does size really matter? Stay tuned, subscribe.